Good morning, everybody. How are you? Listen, I am just popping on here to talk about community notice boards, online notice boards, particularly Facebook, because I think majority of people have got Facebook. And every community started off with sort of swap and sales, which are great. But obviously, as things have changed recently, a lot of these community Facebook groups have become opportunities for people to share a bit of information on what's going on, what's not going on. It's still a bit of buy and sell and that kind of information, but there's a lot of other information going on in there too. And in particular on mine, yesterday, there was somebody who had just put some information out there around some of the discussion around possible mandatory medication. We don't know, but there is obviously something floating around that might actually be the case. I know in particular about people just bringing information which can be really triggering to a community that is working really on a very superficial level. And superficial's fine. But when you want to build the resilience of a community, you want a biodiverse community, much like we have in the world, and we have in our guts as well. And, in your environment, the more biodiversity you have, the greater the health of your land. So here's the thing. A bit like biodiversity of your gut, the biodiversity of a farm, it really is dependent on the person that's actually managing it. So for my gut, it would be me. For this farm, it might be my husband because he does most of the work on the farm and we do regenerative agriculture here. And in a community Facebook group, it would be the admins. They are managing the group. And so a bit like me saying what's okay, what's not okay to come into my body, what I digest. And that's not just digesting food and drink. That's about what I metabolize in terms of information I let into my energy field, conversations I allow myself to be part of, people I allow into my life, all of those things. You've got to create some boundaries because not everything feels vibrationally good for you. And you've really got to tune into here, not here. Because if you tune in here, you might go, oh, there's the latest trend about eating this or doing that or whatever, and you might try it. It might not work for your body. And so it might actually just make you feel worse. And that often can happen. So it's about really standing in your own autonomy and going, what feels right for me? Tuning in, what feels right for me? Okay, same. My husband on the farm, looking, observing, very much a permaculture philosophy. What does this land need? I need to reseed. We move cows through really quickly so they don't sort of have large spaces. They're in small spaces and then they move to another little space and another small space. They squash all the grass down. And so we manage the land. He manages the land. I don't really do it. Sometimes I help him. But we manage the land in a way that is in harmony with it. So my husband's observing, watching, listening the whole time. Same with an admin in a Facebook group. You have got to observe and you've got to look, but you have also got to lead. And you've got to lead by setting, as my girlfriend yesterday called, the principles of participation. If you want to be part of this community here and this group, here's what's okay, as Brené Brown says, and here's what's not okay. It's okay to talk about something that might be controversial, but it's not okay to be inflammatory about it and name calling about people that are not wise to it, because there's nothing more triggering than somebody feeling like they're not educated about something. It brings in a lot of shame, and especially particularly educated people that have got university degrees, and somebody puts out something and they go, oh my God, I don't know about this. And they immediately slam it down, instead of going, oh, okay, this is new information, you know, I don't know about it, let me get curious. So it really helps at the beginning if you have very sound boundaries around what's okay around participation and what's not okay. So it's okay to post, you know, whatever you like, but it's not okay to name call, judge. If it's of no interest to you, it doesn't value add to your day, just keep scrolling up. Don't hang on. You don't need to start going, oh, this has triggered me, and need to take somebody else down. That is how we keep the trauma alive, and that's how what we do is we shut down the opportunity for you know, this extremely biodiverse community culture versus a monoculture, which isn't quite so healthy, because we're not having those conversations, which are uncomfortable, because we all get a bit sort of, you know, how do you call it, the politically correct, you know, we all sort of, you know, are all on eggshells around each other because somebody's just got a big temper that might just chuck a massive big tantrum, and it can be quite traumatic for them and for the person at the receiving end. So I want to talk a little bit about triggers, how to deal with them. If you are reading and you're part of a Facebook group and you read something, well, first of all, I should say you read something, and I would suggest to any admin that if somebody's going to post something that's going to be a little bit inflammatory and might be a bit controversial, put trigger warning at the top, okay? Trigger warning says, if this triggers you in any way, scroll up or step away for a moment. How am I feeling? What's it bringing up for me? It's bringing up that I don't know or understand this, or it's completely against what I believe in. That's fine. That's okay. Good. You know what is being triggered. Now you can go, do I want to know, or am I in the right frame of mind to take in any new information, to hear somebody else's point of view? No, I'm not. Stressed out, pissed off. Then walk away, keep scrolling. If, on the other hand, you go, you know what, actually, it is different to the way I feel, but I'm interested. I'm interested to know how they got to that particular point of view. And so ask that question. You're intrigued, be curious and ask, I'm really interested, that's really interesting, you know, point of view. I hadn't really thought of that. Can you explain why you believe that? That's how you start to hear more of the story, and you go, oh my God. And then the more you kind of unravel, the more common humanity you start to see in the story. You start to go, oh my God, yeah, that reminds me of that happened to my sister or my mother or a friend. But you need to be aware of your personal state and know, can I handle getting curious? Am I able to get curious? Or do I need to shut this down? Because if I need to shut it down, then I need to step away. Admins, when you are, and also people, community members, if you're not seeing your admins step in when somebody starts name calling and judging, then you have a problem. Then you have a problem. And it's really important to have a conversation with those admins. They may not have the skills, in which case shame can come up big time, because they've maybe set the group up with really well-meaning intentions and they're now a little bit out of their depths, in which case maybe you have got the skills and you can offer to help them, or it might just be a situation where you actually have to remove yourself off that Facebook group, or lower your expectations of what it's going to be able to contain. Because if you have got somebody in the admin who is got a whole Brené Brown thing going on and knows how to deal with that and say, actually, you know what, you've just violated this, or you're not violated, but you've just actually overstepped this guideline, that guideline, that guideline. I'm giving you a strike. If there's any more of that, you're off. You've got to have somebody that's prepared to hold somebody accountable. If they're signing up to a community notice board, they need to understand what the rules are of participation, and or the principles of participation are. And if they're not prepared to honor that, then they need to be told that they're going to have to leave. And holding people accountable is really, really challenging if you're not really clear yourself about those guidelines. And that's why you need to have really solid admin people that are not taking it personally. They're just going, this is going to be like this, and this is like this. No, there's no gray area. It's like, no, your name called there. Sorry, you can't do that. You know, you made it really personal, and you've hurt somebody's feelings here. You can't do that. You can't make it personal. So it's about educating people about what's okay, what's not okay, and also holding people accountable in the group about, you know, any potential overstepping of those guidelines. And yeah, I think we're going to possibly be spending more time in these arenas, because people are maybe going to have these slightly more difficult conversations. And I just think it's really important to understand that you need a safe container, a safe-ish container. Nothing is truly safe, but you need to be in a safe container in order to have those conversations. They need to be facilitated by people that can absolutely hold others accountable for their behavior, and enforce the boundary restrictions, or the boundaries that have been made. Enforce is quite a strong word. I'm not really wanting to use enforce. Actually, I'm going to take that out, and put in manage. Just manage the boundaries, manage the guidelines. The other thing is, at the end of the day, true safety comes from within. So if you're feeling a little bit vulnerable, a little bit ginger, maybe just kind of feeling a little bit tired, feeling a bit emotional, don't be going in those spaces and having those conversations. Just don't do it to yourself. That's what personal safety looks like. It's not exposing yourself to energy that is going to just, it's like, you know, when you're feeling a bit ginger and all the rest of it, and you go, oh, I'm just going to eat crap junk food all day, and you end up feeling worse. Instead of going, you know what, I'm going to make a really wholesome soup and eat that, you start to feel better. Same thing. Don't expose yourself and bring in drama to your life if that's not what you need. That's what personal safety is. It's about recognizing what you need and what you don't need. So really honor yourself first before you start stepping in. And if you've not done any personal work at all, find a therapist. Find a group, community group that you can talk about these things with, because there's nothing more shaming than not having the language to talk about stuff like this. And it's just really, really important. Anyway, the dogs are signaling that it's time to go. But I hope you found this helpful.